Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Joe Scarice, founder and host of the Creative Birth Strategy Room here on Clubhouse, live from the Mummy Museum. So I'm going to get started here. We're going to have a great event today here in Philadelphia. Real excited about the opportunity of seeing everybody coming together this morning. So I want to start pinging some people in and get rolling with this, but we have the room all ready. Yordell and myself have been here since 7 a.m. Linda just pulled up. We have a couple guests already showing up here, some vendors. So we're really getting rolling for this great event this morning. It'll be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then we're going to lead it into a happy hour at Moonshine Philly, right down the block. So that's pretty cool too. So let me just ping a ton of people in and get started here in just a few minutes. Our discussion this morning will be maximizing your return on investment investing into real estate rentals. So we'll dive into that as well. I want to also take the time to thank our sponsors, which have been just such a vital part of our growth and opportunities here. Myself, with Landmark Capital, one of our main sponsors. We're an asset-based lender here in the United States, all 50 states. We provide lending for 1 through 4 residential, 5 through 25 multifamily. We look at new construction. We look at fixed to rent, fixed to flip, blanket loans, unsecured business lines of credit or construction lines of credit. And we're here to provide hopefully strategy and education to our real estate professionals. Also, we have MB Capital, which is our unsecured business line of credit program. So if you have any questions on unsecured business lines of credit through your LLC, love to have a discussion on that. One of our main sponsors as well. Also, Realty411 with Linda Pelagas. We're here live at the Mummy Museum here in South Philadelphia for a great event. We have 125 people paid, registered to attend this event this morning. So Linda has been a great asset of being a collaborator in national events throughout the country, national publication. We've had events in LA. We've had events in Dallas, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, New York, now Philadelphia for the second year, Denver. We're really pushing the lever in bringing a national exposure to education and strategy, of course. And then we have Perkatech. I always leave the best for the last. Mr. Yordell Perkins, as I call him, Oz behind the drape. He is our social media strategist. He provides insight to social media strategy and education, but he has been basically the man when it comes to putting this whole entire podcast together. He coordinates all of it, and I can't thank him enough. Great friend, great associate. Met him at actually one of my own networking events on a breakfast that we used to have on Fridays. So that's been, what, decade going, Yordell? About 10 years now? So Yordell stays quiet. He's more of a, like I said, Oz behind the drape, so he's staying a little quiet behind the scenes here in the podcast, but he's been a great tool and great asset to the whole event and putting the event together here today. He helps the CRM and the database, and my presentation at 9:30 will be on real estate investor mindset. So I'm excited about that, and it's a new presentation, so I think it's going to be really different than what I typically discuss, which is primarily on asset-based lending. So today's discussion, maximizing your return on investment, investing in real estate rentals. Let's dive into this. Good morning, Joseph. Safe travels back from LA.
Good morning, Joe. Yeah, got back safely from LA. Still screwed up from the time change.
Yeah. So did you see where the rates changed this week by almost a full quarter point?
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, rates closed down at around 7.30. A lot of pressure on inflationary issues. I really don't see the Fed lowering the Fed rate anytime soon. But irony enough, single-family permits for investors are performing very well in February 2024. European inflation is now impacting United States inflation. Treasury yields have fallen where investors are weighing state of economy. So, some thoughts to the economy and the rates. I mean, rates are relative to how you buy, but how do you think this is going to shake out for the investor? Is it more in the favor of the investor this year than the home buyer?
That's a tough call, right? I mean, everything that we were anticipating with the rate lowering this year is not happening. Right? They were calling for 6 rate cuts, then 4 rate cuts. CPI came in hot at 0.4. They thought it was going to be lower, so the rate cuts. Now the anticipation is 1, maybe 2, and probably no rate cuts until after the election, which may show that this is politically motivated. Surprise, surprise, right? So there's a lot that went on this week in the market realm. As far as where it favors investors versus home buyers, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't see where home buyers were ever really on the benefit side of this. I mean, especially when you were listening to the advice of, hey, you're dating or you're marrying the house, and they were told by professionals, like, oh, rates are lower, rates are lower. That's not happening. The investor,
Did you bring the box of macaroni?
I would say,
You just passed
more
him.
of
It's right in
an
front of
bet
you.
because the emotion isn't in it. They don't have to buy. The seller needs to sell, and you make money when you buy. So, regardless of where the rates are at, if the price is right, you can make it work. As you know, I'm closing on another property next Friday. So, buying is still out there. You just got to be smart and cautious about it. This is what separates the men from the boys, right?
Yeah, and this is very interesting. A lot of change of events in this past week, for us at least. We're rolling out a new construction product and we're looking also from the new construction for spec or build to rent. But we're also looking to now go back to a couple years ago where we take the experience of the investor from a rehab or flip perspective, and now they're not requiring new construction experience. Now the rate might be a little higher, but it's going to get some more people into the new construction space. Okay, so I see some changes there. I see changes in the multifamily landscape for DSCR 5 through 25. I'm seeing a stronger appetite for the secondary market now, diving into DSCR up to 3 million on 5 through 25. Okay, but I think rates are going to change a little bit by about a quarter point on the commercial side. So right now your base rate in the commercial lending landscape, which is only relative if you're not buying correctly and your DSCR is not there, you're probably somewhere between 6.875 and 7% as a base rate, which is still extremely good. So rates right now are somewhere around hovering around 7 to 7.5, depending on the leverage. But now you're able to go up to 80% loan to value on single family through I'd say 10 units. 10 unit to 25 unit is still in the 75% range. Once you get above 3 million, then you could look at 80% as well. But that's, again, more of a Fannie Freddie space. But I personally think, the housing market is stagnant in a lot of areas, except in the suburbs where people are getting out of the urban cities because they're scared. There's crime. They don't feel protected. The police are overwhelmed. The education is horrendous. So they're bringing their kids and themselves out of that environment and putting themselves in a better setting. I did live in Philadelphia for 12 years. I love living in the suburbs of the Philadelphia market. I like to come in when I can, and I like to go home when I can. So, and I like just the comfort of just safety and security. And I mean, there's crime everywhere, but again, I think the urban settings, the cities like the MSAs, like Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, St. Louis, are really going through a struggle. Funny enough, I was in Boston last week, Joe, and I'll tell you, it was definitely a different vibe up there. Definitely they're keeping that area very in good shape. But some of the smaller cities are doing really well, like Newark and Jersey City. They're keeping crime in perspective, and people are staying there in Newark. Actually, people are moving back into smaller MSAs like Newark or Jersey City here in the Northeast. So how does this tie into maximizing return on investment, investing in rental properties, right? Well, you got to look at the trends. What are some of the factors in the market? What are some of your renters, your tenants looking for and are looking to absorb to get the best rental in front of them? right? There's going to be a massive influx of rentals coming on board over the next 12 to 24 months with a lot of multifamily development, a lot of build-to-rent development that was originally for sale and now for rent. So you're going to have an influx of a lot of Class B, B plus rentals, along with affordable housing movement in a lot of the areas. So what are you doing, Joe, for your rentals, knowing that you're up against that type of competition? And then we'll go to Melissa. Well, you know what? Let's go to Melissa first. Melissa, good morning and welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and just what's going on with your day today, and we'll dive into maximizing your return on investment investing in rentals.
Hi, Joseph. Thank you guys so much for having me on today. Yeah, I was very interested in what Joseph actually was about to say, so I'll be real quick. My name is Melissa King, One Last I LLC virtual assistant here in West Michigan. I am a realty bookkeeping and admin professional. I'm also a licensed referral agent here in West Michigan actually, and a notary public. As always, Joe, I'm here to learn because you guys always have so much to say, and it's no matter where you're at in your real estate journey, this is a good place to be. And I'm constantly telling people to get onto this clubhouse, and I don't understand why they don't do it. So I guess they just don't want to grow, or they're too busy for education. I don't know. And another thing I wanted to say real quick before we go back to Joseph is good luck today on your event. I so wish I could be there.
Well, thank you, Melissa. Yeah, we're really stoked about it. Joe is actually going to supposedly make an appearance. It's like seeing Bigfoot. So we might see an alien invasion of Mr. Martella here at the Mummery Museum in South Philadelphia. Great location, great venue. It's already set up. We're ready to rock and roll. This was, I think, a much better move. We're going to be providing complimentary breakfast and lunch to our attendees. So it's going to be very well contained, where people are staying here throughout the day. We're going to podcast, film all the presentations. So we're going from almost 30 podcasts on our podcast. We're going to be close to 40 by the end of this day today, which I'm excited. We're getting 1,000 downloads a month right now, so that's pretty cool as well. But let's dive back to maximizing your return on investing into rentals. You know, I think one thing, and I'll give Joe some tools to discuss. I think, thorough market research is very much needed when you're looking at opportunities. You need to conduct a comprehensive market of research to maximize your real estate investment returns. You really need to understand your market. I keep telling people, go to a zoning meeting, go to a community meeting, go to a council meeting. That's where you're seeing the winning and the losing in the transactions in that market. Investing in up and coming areas. Untapped potential can be very rewarding. Looking for developing neighborhoods with potential for growth. Keep an eye out for urban development plans and government initiatives while also assessing the area's infrastructure. Understanding also the rental demand in that is crucial to maximizing real estate investment returns. Analyzing that market to identify areas with high rental demand where tenants are eager to rent your property. Choose locations expanding populations, flourishing job markets, and attractive amenities. Be the landlord everyone desires by understanding what renters want and delivering unique elements. By providing outstanding rental properties, tenants will be flocking to secure your location, increasing rental profits. Renovating and improving the property. It's not all about when you finish the renovations, how you maintain the renovation following the occupancy of that tenant. After purchasing that property, it's time to make it shine. Renovating and improving your investment property is key to maximizing its return. Enhance the interiors, add new fixtures, give it a fresh coat of paint. Don't forget to enhance the curb appeal with a beautiful garden or welcoming entrance. Remember, a well-maintained property attracts desirable tenants and yields a higher rental income. Effective property management is critical for maximizing real estate investment returns. It includes meticulous maintenance, tenant screening, timely rent collection, and swift resolution of issues. Hire a professional property manager or develop an efficient management system yourself. Happy tenants will be well-maintained properties are the key to financial success in the real estate market. So always keep your properties in top-notch condition. Some thoughts, consideration of strategic planning. You want to explore methods that maximize your real estate investment returns, such as choosing the right location, conducting thorough market research, investing in upcoming neighborhoods, understanding rental demand, and refurbishing and renovating your property effectively and maintaining it effectively. Joe, your thoughts to my overview so far on maximizing your ROI?
No, that was a really good overview, right? And I wish I had a pen and paper so I could hit point by point, right? So we talk about market research, right? And it starts off with understanding the bigger economy and what's going on around you, right? We started off that this morning with the interest rates and the impact of the interest rates and how the 10-year bond affects the interest rates, what's going on in the market, inflation overseas coming over here, right? That all plays a role into real estate investing. If you don't think that everything's intertwined, well, then you are really, really mistaken. Then you look in market research, right? Well, Joe, you talk about it all the time, right? Migration reports, United Van Lines, U-Haul, and other sites that are like that tell you where people are migrating. There's other sites that are pay-for sites that you can find that information out if you want to. What does a rental market look like? How long are properties sitting on the market as rentals? Not just, we always talk about days on market for buy and sell, but what does days on market look like for a rental? And you have to consider that as well, right? Are they renting quick or are they sitting for months? You have to see are landlords lowering the rents in the area, right? And it doesn't stop after you purchase a property. Your market research has to be continuous. Upkeep of the property, right? If you're going to do a burn, right, and you're going to rehab it right. Now, I didn't say over rehab it. That's a whole nother story that people get into, right? Where you're putting in marble instead of where you should be putting in granite, right? Don't over rehab, but rehab it right. That'll prevent the repairs from happening over and over and over again. I have properties in my portfolio that I haven't been to in years because the rehab was just done correctly. If you want to look at it, everybody complains about tenants. Tenants are rough on the properties and all that other stuff. Well, some of you in the audience and on stage have kids, right? How rough are the kids on your property? You must love them, but how rough are they on your property? And how many times are you making repairs? Which on the same thing over and over. If it's done correctly, you're not, no matter how rough they are. We're talking about just regular wear and tear, not just intentionally ripping the door off a cat.
I'm on the podcast.
Right.
Table next to me.
But be prepared for making those repairs as they come up. If you treat your property like crap, the tenant is going to look at your property as, well, if the landlord doesn't care, why should I? Just because you have their security deposit doesn't mean that they care anymore. And they can use it to document against you. So that's something for you to take into consideration that you're doing. Property management. I manage my own property. Some people think I'm crazy, and I think it's smart. But that's always a debate. You have to do what's best for you and your portfolio. I've talked about my numbers in the past. I'm not going to go through that again and my reasoning behind it. But property management is key, right? How do your tenants communicate with you? How do you communicate with your tenants? Is it professional communication with them, right? You shouldn't be using, curse words or any other informal language. Preferably write them a letter. There's ChatGPT now that anybody can write a friggin' letter in 5 minutes. Are you handling their security deposit properly? Are you giving them the interest when you're supposed to be giving them? When you do that type of stuff, the tenants realize, wow, this is a landlord that knows his stuff. And not only is it an appreciation factor, but it's also, this landlord knows his stuff. He knows the law. He's not going to screw around. Let me play within the lines of our contract. It's also a deterrent, I would argue. So there's many different factors that go into that, Joe. I don't know if I missed anything else on what you talked about.
Well, you definitely didn't miss that you're crazy. So I will confirm that you are crazy. So that's definitely a guarantee. So I want to make sure we got that on video and on tape. But I think a landlord thinks that everything's going to just go into controlled environment once they get the tenant. I think that's when it gets that's when you really got to get smart. You really need to be efficient. What type of expenses are impacting your bottom line on your cash flow? I think it's the most important part. I mean, who's paying the electric? Who's paying who's paying the heat? Who's paying the water? Right? These are massive movements in profitability. I think also understanding your insurance once you're at multiple properties, where the cost effectiveness is of getting good commercial insurance is extremely important as well. And then having that proficient and efficient maintenance button-up guy up and above your property management group, I think is important, because I think a management group is going to add 30% cost to a bill, where if you get a good button-up person, you're getting real numbers. You're getting a real hourly. It's a little more cost effective. I think the efficiency of a good property management company is how good you're managing the management company and having your own backup bullpen for regular maintenance and upgrades. And optimizing the rental pricing is very important. Understanding your rental market. Don't depend on other people. Depend on yourself to understand what is the rent capacity in your market. Is it Section 8 affordable housing? Is it the market rent? Is the market rent in Section 8? It's not that hard to look this information up. Joe looks it up all the time, right? Reducing these operating expenses as well, and either putting more toward the tenant or doing the renovations at the time where these operating expenses are working in your favor. And then also understanding the tax implications and the benefits, meaning for depreciation, the maintenance and operating expenses. Consult with a tax professional to ensure you're leveraging all available tax advantages. And another thing I think a lot of people don't do is leveraging technology for efficiency. Having a good property management software or QuickBooks, adopting property management software to automate tasks such as rent collection, lease management, maintenance requests. This not only reduces administration costs, but also improves tenant satisfaction through efficient service. Melissa, some thoughts to the comments I've made so far on maximizing your ROI investing in rentals this morning.
Yeah, you were spot on. There were three of them that I liked was have your backup repair guy. I've actually seen on some owner statements for my clients, they can get ripped off by being overcharged by their so-called maintenance person. So definitely pay attention to that. Manage your property manager. Don't just ignore the owner statements that come across your desk. Or if you've got somebody entering them like I do, make sure that you're reviewing your financials every month. And I would still say don't rely on just the financials you get from your bookkeeper or your CPA. Do look at those owner statements, because those are the best way to keep an eye on the expenses. And if you're not, yeah, that's dangerous. And I do like use the tech to automate as well. I've been in this business for over 15 years, and I've seen it grown. Automation really is making it a lot easier for you to do your own management, like Joseph, if you want to. It's making it easier for the property managers to help you keep your expenses and put more money into your pocket, just in general. So, but my biggest thing here is manage that property manager, manage all of your team, so that you have an idea of what's going on. Don't expect to get into this business and just let it run without keeping an eye on it.
You know, this is a long-term venture. This is not a short-term venture, and I agree with Melissa, and thank you. You know, you have to look at the big picture. You're taking out a 30-year mortgage. You're signing a 12-month lease. You're building a relationship with that tenant. for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. I know some people that have tenants for 20 years. Okay? The turtle will always beat the hare in optimizing and maximizing return on investment, investing in real estate. At the end of the day, you could come up with all these different acronyms that come up: short-term rental, mid-term rental, boarding rooms, all these other creative ways that people are trying to come up with. I don't know what they're coming up with, but at the end of the day, there's a 12-month lease. You buy a property correctly, you renovate it correctly, you refinance it correctly into a long-term environment. The rate makes sense based on the DSCR, and you work that property. And then you do the next one, you do the next one, you do the next one, you do the next one. You try to leave as little money into the deal as possible, and you try to maximize your cash-on-cash return, you maximize your DSCR, and you buy smart. You make money when you buy, and maximizing that return on investment. Good morning, Nathan. I invited you up. Welcome. Brief overview who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, maximizing your ROI from the Mummery Museum here in South Philadelphia this morning.
Oh, that's where you are. Okay. Everyone, my name is Nathan. I'm a real estate agent at a notary public. I live in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and licensed for real estate licensed in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I saw you guys hop on. I just wanted to kind of listen in. You were saying in the beginning that there's actually a new program potentially coming for new construction builds, and whatnot. I was wondering if you're actually going to talk a little bit about that, because I'm a little curious about it.
Sure, I'll go over that a little bit. And I think there's such an appetite now for a lot of these investors that are transitioning from renovating properties because there's just not enough properties to stay busy. So in the old days, which we're talking only 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago, if you had 5 rehabs and or 5 flips completed in the last 24 months, you were available to do a new construction project. Now, the preferred environment would be oh boy, we're getting a little background noise. So the preferred environment would be owning the land already, having the third-party work done already, meaning the renderings, the permits, all the things that need to be done, the general construction bid. Most lenders are not really interested in being involved with the acquisition of the land, because who knows when those permits are going to come through? Who knows when those renderings are going to come through? So we want somebody that's going to be proficient, that understands that permit process. It's a very unique environment. So I would say I'm more in favor of financing the land once you own it and third parties in place. We'll go up to 90 to 100% of the construction costs, depending on how much you have into the deal, meaning how much you bought the land for, how much the third party expense was paid for. We could reimburse on that cost and tie that into the construction vertical work. And what we will do is give up to 100% of the construction. You're going to come in with the first draw, meaning you're going to dig the hole or put the foundation in, and then we're going to reimburse you, and then go from there. And then it's a reimbursement of draw schedule to complete that project. Does that make sense, Nathan?
Yeah, that does. It's interesting because I've never seen anybody outside of like your big developers and stuff saying they're going to do any type of funding on like the construction on like land and stuff. So that's very intriguing.
Well, listen, when you have a lack of inventory to renovate, even though there's permits being pulled all over the place, I mean, eventually, Will Rogers made a great quote 100 years ago: you can't make more land. You can make more houses, you can't make more land. Right? So obviously the market is seeing this. The secondary market is seeing this, and they're becoming a little more lenient on the new construction environment, where they were requiring 2 new construction builds with ownership in the last 24 to 48 months. Now they're changing. They're kind of changing and shifting their sale. So it's just because of where the market's going. Because listen, let's be honest, Nathan, a good contractor doing a renovation, it's going to cost just about the same doing new construction at the end of the day if you're doing a gut to the studs, right?
Right. I mean, everything's going to be basically the same, because if you have a house that's in such bad shape, there's a chance it may even potentially need to be torn down in the first place.
Correct.
It's that bad. So what's the difference at that point if you're paying for the renovations or you're just paying for brand new construction?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And listen, you might be able to save the foundation. So, like, I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but, you know, sometimes you could work from the foundation that's there, just the house has gone to shit, right? So, you know, that could be an opportunity too. So, if you already have the foundation in place, all I need to do is give you the money to start to build. And I'm giving you 100% out of it because you already bought the property, you already have the permits, you already have the general construction scope of work, you already have the renderings. Why wouldn't I finance that?
Yeah, no, I agree, because there's sometimes where I'll see properties in Philly where I'm looking at it and going, there is no point to try to rehab it. Like, the foundation probably is fine, like obviously the hole in the basement's there and whatnot, and maybe needs a little bit of work, but nothing probably crazy, but the rest of the structure's gone. So yeah, the foundation's there, it does make it a heck of a lot easier. In Philly, everything just has, or the foundation's already there because the city is the age it is.
Well, think about it. There's still some tax abatements out there in a lot of these MSAs throughout the country, and not as good as they once were. But the marketing of a new construction is a lot easier for a realtor like yourself than a renovated property, right?
It's like, I try to talk to my clients whenever I can about doing, like, they're getting a mortgage to buy themselves, about doing like a FHA 203K and say, look, like, there may not be a lot of options that are ready to go, but we can look at stuff that's not ready to go, and you guys finance the rehab after that. It just takes a little bit longer. And what I've noticed is people are kind of lazy, and they're just like, no, I don't. I just want to buy it and move in and be done, and I don't want to take the time and the effort and all that stuff, and they just want the convenience of it. So,
well, you know, this is the thing. People don't see the benefit of owning new construction, like 2-family through 4-family. Like, if you're going to do new construction, don't go building single-family homes because there's a lot more pressure on that deal to be occupied. Build a 2-family. I mean, you're only talking about a $30,000 difference in the grand scheme of things. And, you know, at the worst case, if you ever wanted to sell the property, you could sell it also to an owner-occupant that could buy it FHA, VA, USDA, or conventional. It's an easier sell, right? And another thing is the home warranty that you could put on that property is a lot easier to obtain than a rehab renovation loan. To get a warranty is going to be a little higher in cost. I mean, we're talking $400 a year, but just to get a better warranty to the house, it's a lot easier with the new construction, is my thoughts.
It's all, you always have a lot of good information and whatnot that you're sharing, so I always appreciate it, like, listening. So.
Well, Nathan, it's always nice to see you at these events that we attend. And, you know, listen, I like to keep people informed because I stay informed. I look at the long-term perspective. I don't look at the short-term perspective. You know, I try to select the right asset for the right client and the right client for the right asset. Okay? If somebody's buying single families, you know, 100 of them, they could facilitate, if they're managing that out with a property management company, that means they could own a 100 unit as well. So, like, I have a client right now that's been buying single family through 4-family. He's close to 300 doors. Now he's like, hey, I could buy 25 doors at a time just by buying these motels and converting them to Section 8. He's now at his 6th motel conversion into a 25-unit multifamily. So he was able to add another 300 doors to his portfolio in 6 months instead of 2 years.
And that's amazing. And that's my long-term goal for, like, myself and whatnot for the real estate retirement plan, because the retirement plan for realtors that I've heard for years is we work until we die. So my goal is to have somewhere around 50 to 60 doors, and, like, you're probably in Philly and Bucks County and stuff. And if I could eventually get to the point where I can buy a 20 unit at once, that shrinks that time frame to get them a lot quicker. So. I
mean, well, listen, you know, I always enjoy the real. I get a giggle. I usually mute myself so I don't make a snarky comment But I get a kick out of that realtor that says, I've been in the business 17 years or 22 years. Or I'll go to an expo and I'm like, hey, do you work with investors? Oh, no. I'm like, well, then you must be bored out of your mind all day. There is so, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I kind of limit myself with the realtor expos at these points because 80% of the realtors there, one, they can't even bend over and touch their toes, but two, they're not really interested in understanding the investment space. Most realtors don't know what a good deal is if it was stapled to their forehead because they're not willing to get educated with investors.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've worked with a few, and I own one rental property myself, but I would say I'm probably not as well educated as I should be to work with one. But I'll say this, if anybody's on here, if you're an investor and you want to work in the $1 billion market, I'm looking, like, I would be happy to work with an investor. I'm an agent who wants to be.
You're trying.
For that purpose.
But you're trying, Nathan. I mean, listen. Most people don't even know what after repair value means, maximum allowable offer means, cash on cash return. I mean, Joe's not even a licensed realtor, and I feel he's more proficient at training real estate agents than real estate agents training real estate agents on investing. And I just want to get a little intake from Joe because, Joe, I know you've helped out some realtors to better understand investing. What's your thoughts to Nathan? Where did Nathan go? Nathan disappeared. There's Nathan. Yeah, that's okay. Joe, some thoughts to what Nathan was discussing in regards to being a realtor investor friendly.
Yeah, so listen, every realtor says they want to work with investors until it's time to work with investors, right? And a lot of the things are, you know, and it's not about being invested or knowing how to do the evaluations, right? So a lot of the things with the realtors that I've experienced, they start sending me deals. And I'm like, no. Don't send me deals. I'll send you the deal that I'm interested in. I'll find my own deals because I obviously don't need MLS anymore, right? I need access with Zillow and Fulia and what have you, that's sufficient enough access to on-market properties. So you look to the realtor for the pocket listings or the off-market properties they have come across, and the deals that they can't make or they don't want to put on the market because the house is a little too ugly. Or a lot too ugly, then that's where the investor kind of steps in and serves with them. But when you're working with an investor, listen, we're no angels, right? As investors, we're looking at a lot of properties. We're putting a lot of low offers in because that's where the numbers make sense. And a lot of realtors don't want to deal with that. They want to deal with the homeowner. And I'm going to be honest that I think a lot of realtors got spoiled, especially in a market like this, where you're only showing a couple of houses and then a buy decision has to be made because people are scooping them up. So you don't have to go and show the 10 houses. You're showing 2 or 3 houses. So there was a lot of periods of time, you know, that seemingly coming to an end where realtors didn't even want to deal with rentals. Oh, too low of commission can be. But at the end of the day, when the homeowners disappear, the investors are the ones that are there. So realtors need to learn to work with investors, and that is looking at the multiple houses, putting in the multiple offers. I mean, I've had a realtor tell me, oh, that offer is too low, and I have a reputation to uphold. No, you have a responsibility to put the offer in.
I absolutely agree. When I first got in the industry, I would hear oh, you shouldn't lowball the offer because you might insult the seller. And my response, like from learning and looking at things, is why do I care about the seller? The seller's not my client. I don't care if I insult them or not. I have to do what's best for my client. And whatever offer they want to make, what they think is fair is what I'm going to do.
Exactly. That's what it comes down to. And you would have a lot of that goes on. So, you know, and then I think that they do a little bit of an injustice to the realtors because they put you through this course. They really don't teach you anything. I have a family member that became a realtor, and they were saying, oh, you know, Uncle Joey, I want to be your realtor. Okay. And I started saying, what is does this mortgage rate impact on this property? What my cash flow be? Oh, I don't know. I just tell my client to go to the mortgage broker. Well, then how are you going to work with me if you don't know how to evaluate a property? Right? So the realtors that are working with the investors, that are going to the investors, that are learning what Joe teaches as maximum allowable offer and his DSCR loans that he does. You know, obviously, this is investor language. This is investor products. These are what investors do. And learning this stuff, that'll get you guys through the rainy days, so to speak, because the rainy days are always on the horizon, right? Everything's great now, but if you live it for now, you're not worried about what's going on in the future, you're not really building your business, and that's what separates the realtors out of the game, right? Because there's going to be realtors that are going to be put through a sieve pretty soon, right? With not only with the lawsuits, but with maybe the homeowners drying up at time. You know, the economies come and go. Every 7 years it changes. And that's where it goes down to. So that's my 2 cents.
I'd like to add something to you guys. I think, you know, we're the only podcast, the only room here on Clubhouse that offers several things here. One, real education with very limited agenda, meaning we're not selling any workshops, we're not selling any books. We're just service providers, okay? 2, we're here every Saturday and Sunday with a different educational piece to understanding how to maximize your return on investment like today, okay? We're the only one that has a live podcast on all the social media buckets. We're the only club here on Clubhouse that provides worksheets for you to be a smarter real estate professional, real estate service provider, real estate agent. And now we offer a nationwide CE course on navigating asset-based lending, and I'll take some credit. I'm published. I wrote the book. I wrote the module, and now I can teach this course for licensed real estate agents in understanding the investor mindset in navigating through asset-based lending for 3 credits in any state in the country. Now, this is the catch and why I'm not teaching this enough. Because all these real estate brokers are sucking wind through a straw right now just to keep the lights on. And if they're not getting paid by their service providers to buy into their stable, they're not going to allow somebody to come in to provide insight and education because it will interfere with their bottom line with how they're being paid. And that is a fact. You know, in today's discussion I'm going to have today here at the Mummy Museum, we're going to talk about the real estate investor mindset. We're going to take off the gloves in understanding how to maximize who you are as a real estate professional, how you conduct yourself as a real estate professional, and taking no shit as a real estate professional. Justin, good morning and welcome. Brief overview of who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning. Maximizing your ROI, investing in rentals, live from the Mummy Museum in South Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, man, we got a special show today. Well, yeah, Joe, I'll definitely say, if you don't do anything but start with the last remark you made, man, don't take any shit, man. Know what you're doing, know where you're going, and stick to your grounds. If you're incorrect, right, based on your own metrics, it'll be much easier for you to digest than if you take a loss because of somebody else's mistakes, somebody else's dishonesty, that you just were nonchalant and didn't do your homework and make sure you check that out.
Hey, get your Dell.
Dealings with that individual. So that's one way you can maximize your ROI is minimizing the mistakes and the error you're gonna face inevitably by dealing with dishonest people and dealing with folks who can't really prove to be who they say they are or prove to have the capabilities they say they are. So verifying, I know it's essential, right, from first-hand experience. Another thing I would say, and this goes for sure, anything that you're doing is you always begin with the end in mind. So if I'm looking at a property, if I'm looking to achieve a goal in real estate investing, whether that's get X amount of doors, whether that's yield a certain amount of liquid off of a flip or something like that, which, you know, good luck to you if you can take those kind of risks right now just to do something in investing, right? I advise structuring it.
We're going to end it in a little bit, so just be ready. You're down.
I'll say
Maybe in
this,
5 minutes.
just make sure.
Maybe in 5 minutes, we're going to end this. I just want you to be around.
And that goes with knowing your market and understanding how real estate is moving currently, and maybe and possibly it should be moving during your holding period. And I just think that having an entire plan, you don't want to just go buy something because someone said it was a good idea. I think that's a horrible idea. I think it's a good idea to have a financial strategy, right, and use real estate as a vehicle to move that strategy along, whether it's just for a safety net or if it's for something that can actually buy you a lot of your time back in life and in some other ways. So it's absolutely unequivocally be educated and keep educated and informed, willing people around you. And, you know, you'll be fine.
So, Justin, real quick, because we're going to try to end this room a little earlier than usual, just because we were starting to get a lot of people in the room, as you can hear a lot of background noise. Give me 3 bad things that could happen minimizing your ROI that you have experienced personally on investing. Because you're a general contractor, a licensed real estate broker. Give me 3 mistakes you've made on minimizing return on investment.
Number one is not, you know, trusting and not verifying, right, that a general contractor is skilled in all of the things that he says, okay? So, for example, one of the main things you got to heard when we talk about the struggles that I've been dealing with for about a year and a half is a flip that I had in a very good location. But I had a very bad guy messed up my framing. When you and you can mess up different things in a flip and it not affect you as much, right? And he messed up sheet rock, it wouldn't have been a problem, right? I could have ripped the sheet rock out and done it again. But he messed up the skeleton for a house, right? The framing for a house. Everything is built upon that. And so that was a really tough lesson that I'm still licking my wounds from. Because it lost me a lot of money. For me, a lot of money, right? And so that's mistake number 1, right? Another thing is prioritizing. I've missed opportunities by not having my credit ready. And I mean ready and strong. There was a time where my 600 could go get me funded. You know, I haven't had 600 in a while, but it was the time when that could get me funded 2.5 years ago. That could get me the funding that I need, or 605 or something crazy like that, with the bank, right? I've had moments where, of course, my credit score went up for me to be able to buy properties, but even at that time, during my time, I realized during my time in between my projects, trying to find other things, and it kept me from being able to repurpose, right, my old projects, to keep moving, to pivot, to do the things I needed to do to exit and get out and into more deals, right? And that, you know, that's so you stay ready at all times. Once you're in this game, or once you make a decision to get into the game, stay ready, keep your jersey on, and stay warmed up, you know. So, and then a third thing I would absolutely say, without a doubt, is have a strong team. And that does not mean that your team is exclusive to you. So you don't have to feel pressure to have a team that's exclusive to yourself, okay? This team just needs to be committed to real estate and being a professional.
I'm on a call.
Maybe not the prettiest person.
I'm on a call. I'm on a podcast.
But they are maybe the dirtiest or the most well-connected when it comes to their information on real estate investing, right? When it comes to a lender, they are real estate investor friendly. They understand. they provide things for you to help you be successful. And these are things that once you've experienced something on a higher level, you can hold that standard. Like in 2024, you don't have to worry about it. Like, see the way, I'm going to just use Joe for example because it's this room. But the way he's giving out sheets and spreadsheets, in my life, in my line of work, you know, if I go somewhere on the other side of the world, something happens to Joe and I can't use Joe, the next lender needs to be able to provide me some of these things. The next lender needs to have the same or similar energy, because that's tied to my good experience. Lending is tied to, it makes me feel comfortable that they are excited about what we're doing. They're motivated to help me be successful. So your team right, keep your scores and stay warmed up so you can play in the game, have everything you need, your money to the side, your credit score right, and always verify, especially when you're dealing with a contract. It's one of the biggest hustles out there. They'll hustle your grandma, anybody. Trust me, they gotta eat. So I'm not one of those GCs. I GC my own stuff. So I want to make that distinction too. So I have a different mindset about it. Just wanted to throw those things in there.
Justin, that's great. Listen, because you know why? Most people want to talk about all the great stuff. I want to talk about the mistakes, you know, because you want to make as little mistakes as possible. You're going to make them, but you hit some really great points that people just want to push to the side and don't think it's important. And I want to thank you for that. Joe, your final thoughts to our discussion this morning, maximizing your return on investment here on Clubhouse, live from the Mummer Museum.
No, it's always Joe. You know, a lot of good information, and exactly as you said, right? No sell-a-thons, no looking to just sell someone something. You're actually looking to educate people and talk about the mistakes, so people are not going to make those very same mistakes, right? Because that's where we learn most from. We learn most from our mistakes, not from our successes. Because the mistakes really will hurt and teach us the lessons. Really good stuff. And look forward to seeing you today. It's time this squared away before I head on over, so Bigfoot will show up. I don't stay for that reason. But no, good conversation today, Joe, as always.
Joe, thank you for your support. I know we bust each other's chops, but it's done out of love. So I want to thank you for always being part of this great discussions, because I don't think people really take into consideration the income and expenses to a property. They just don't look at the entire inner gizzards of what is going to impact your bottom line. I mean, great.
I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more than that. Because, you know, a lot of people pull up things and you always say, oh, you buy a rental now and it's not cash flow now, but over time it's going to be cash flow, and as appreciation goes up and the rents go up and everything goes up. Everything can't go up. There has to be a ceiling at some point.
Exactly.
And you're buying a property now. So if I'm buying a property now at a loss, like, am I going to be able to handle that loss for 5, 10, or 20 years as that chart shows the property goes up? Right, that's the question, right? So you make the money when you buy. And you can play with the numbers, just don't play with the numbers and be disciplined.
Thank you, Joe. Melissa, your final thoughts to maximizing your ROI investing in the rentals.
I definitely liked what Justin said about the credit score. Always work on that and keep it high. It helps you throughout life. Trust but verify. Use contracts. That'll help you. That holds everybody accountable. Manage your teams and don't discount the value of somebody's network. That can help you always. Thanks, Joe. You have a great day.
Thank you, Melissa. We're here live at the Philadelphia Mummer Museum in South Philadelphia on 2nd Street. We have 8 great speakers today of education, strategy, and networking. The room is getting filled up. We're going to have over 100 plus people in the room, probably close to 125 people. We have breakfast, we have lunch. We're going to have a great happy hour at the Moonshine Philly at 5:30 in the evening. So if you can't make our event today and you can make the happy hour, come down to the happy hour, Moonshine Philly, grab a drink. It's on you, not on me. And we could have a great little time and just networking and building relationships. And that's what the Creative Birth Strategy House was built upon. building relationships. I want to thank our sponsors. I have Percatech, Yardell Perkins, who's our backbone to all our social media presence here online and in person. I want to thank Realty411, Linda Pelagas, who's putting on this great event here at the Mummy Museum, a national publication, a national event planner throughout the country. MB Capital, unsecured business lines of credit for your LLC and to be a real estate professional. And then Lendmark Capital, your asset-based lending group. Here, myself, Joseph Scarice, head of origination in single family through four family, 5 through 25, new construction, blanket loans, multifamily, strategy discussion, educational discussion. And we're here to provide education every Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m., and every Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're the only club that has a podcast, has a room, has educational settings, has national events, and now is providing CE accreditation for real estate agents in every state in the country. So we're going to finish off this room always with a quote, which I always love to do. Keep the faith, drop the fear. I'll see some of you here in South Philadelphia. Otherwise, I'll see you back here tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. with another educational discussion for everybody to listen into. Thank you very much. Checking out here at the Mummy Museum. I'll be ending the room in the next 30 seconds.